We have a bunch of interviews to play for you, and we're going to do that, but I want to go through a couple of different things. Gentile, I think is the pronunciation of her last name. Brittany Gentile sent me a fascinating article on social psychology and conservative thinking. This is an article called Low Effort Thought Promotes Political Conservatism. It's from the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin. This is a legitimate publication, Lewis, unlike what the anti-gay nuts usually send me to prove their preconceived notions.
Right.
So let me give you a sense of this. The authors test the hypothesis that low-effort thought, in other words, what comes to you quickest, promotes political conservatism. And in study number 1, alcohol intoxication was measured among bar patrons. Now, this will be particularly relevant to Lewis here as a bartender. As blood alcohol level increased, so did political conservatism.
Hold on a second. Hold
on a second, Lewis. Controlling for sex, education, and political identification. This is study number 1. Let's analyze each study one by one. This makes sense to me because, and I don't think that drinking makes people more conservative. I think people, when they drink, their inhibitions go down, and the first things to come out that people normally try to hold in are incredibly bigoted, homophobic, racist, and otherwise conservative ideals.
I have some major problems with this study. First of all, I'm just going to use myself as an example.
Perfect.
I'm liberal, right?
I hope so. I think.
Let's just say we're talking about taxes, and I present to you my stance on taxes.
Okay.
And then I have a six-pack. Do you think it's going to be any different?
I think it could be in this sense.
You're telling me my ideals will change based on how much alcohol I've had.
It's not so much the ideals per se will change, but when you're thinking about it rationally, you say to yourself, when I think about it rationally, fair would be this type of tax scenario, blah, 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 blah. And then as you start getting a little drunk, you start getting a little belligerent, you start yelling out things like, F the poor people. You either figure out how to make more money or you don't. You don't depend on lower taxes. That's something which is deep down maybe, but then would come out with some alcohol.
Now, if you ask me what would happen as I increase my BAC increases, is I would lean even more in the same direction.
Okay, maybe.
So I don't know. This study seems very strange.
We're looking at a scientific study here on the whole. Of course, you as a seasoned bartender, you may have a whole different thing going on that we don't even know about.
This is very strange to me.
Let's look
does not make sense.
A third part of the study. Time pressure increased participants' endorsement of conservative terms. In other words, when people were told that they have to give an answer or explain something faster, they tended to present a more conservative argument or viewpoint. That's interesting to me, too. As you have less time to think things through, you say more conservative things.
That makes a little more sense to me.
That one you buy a little more. Study number 4. Participants considering political terms in a cursory manner endorsed conservative terms more than those asked to cogitate. Is it cogitate or cogitate? An indicator of effortful thought, recognition, memory, partially mediated the relationship between processing effort and conservatism. Altogether, this suggests that political conservatism may be a consequence of low-effort thought. When effortful, deliberate thought is disengaged, endorsement of conservative ideology increases. I think this is very true, especially when we look at people voting against their own best interests. When you are taking a kind of a superficial view, you might make a decision that's more conservative and doesn't even support your own best interests.
I think there's a big difference between low-effort thought and being just completely misinformed about something.
There's a difference.
You can do a lot of critical thinking on a subject, but if the information that was presented to you about it is wrong,
right,
then your view on it will be wrong.
Okay.
So, there's a difference there.
There is a difference. But as a general rule, do you buy this idea that lower effort thought, in other words, unnuanced thought, as we've been talking about for years, leads you down a more conservative path?
I think that a likely scenario,
all right.
Yes.
Very good.